Hello, my name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor, and this is your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, we're diving into IntelStor's latest market research note on the U.S. administration's hostility towards the offshore wind energy sector. $75 billion. That's how much the offshore wind industry stands to lose as a result of the tariffs and recent policy decisions on reevaluating offshore wind permits issued prior to 2025. Let's deconstruct that number. The U.S. offshore wind industry was poised to invest more than $90 billion in building offshore wind farms, improving port infrastructure, building factories and supply chains, as well as investments in research and development. With the introduction of tariffs and the April 16th order from the Secretary of the Interior Department, the industry's quickly lost confidence in the United States as a thriving market for offshore wind development and investment. And really, who can blame them? German utility RWE is pulling out of active project development activities in the United States, despite having more than $1.1 billion invested in leases and early stage development costs here in the United States. Prysmian, the Italian cable manufacturer, has confirmed that they're pulling out of building a cable factory in the US. And the administration has also already canceled research and development projects, such as the University of Maine's floating wind platform, where they had grant money via the DOE, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars in grants for the development of offshore grid technologies via the Grid Management Office of the DOE. You also had both Shell and EDF pull out of the Atlantic Shores project in New Jersey due to an unfavorable judicial ruling, which comes outside of the scope of these, BOEM permit reviews. So, according to our estimates at IntelStor, the United States stands to lose about $62.8 billion in capital expenditure on projects that were supposed to be built within the next 4 years. This includes projects in North Carolina, California, New Jersey, New York, and Maryland, which were all expected to move forwards. More than $7 billion in port infrastructure improvements, which were dependent on project certainty, and in some cases, federal funding to complement what was happening at the state and private sector investment, are likely to fall by the wayside. This includes the expansion to the Port of Long Beach in California, which was counting on state and federal money to complement that private investment made to construct the facilities that were going to serve the bulk of the West Coast projects, in addition to the Humboldt Bay port infrastructure improvements. Supply chain buildup will be reduced by approximately $3.7 billion, according to our research at IntelStor. As I noted earlier, you've got companies like Prysmian already withdrawing their plans to build a factory in the US for cables. That had a price tag of more than $200 million. And it would have created thousands of construction and hundreds of permanent jobs. Somerset, Massachusetts would have gained $10 million in tax revenue annually from the creation of that factory. And now that's evaporated. And even though Ellis Cable and System is moving forward with their factory in Virginia, they're going to be restricted to exporting the bulk of what they produce from that factory due to a lack of domestic demand. And with reciprocal tariffs in place and a general lack of demand for U.S. manufactured goods globally, it may prove challenging for LS Cable and System to even find a foreign market where they can sell that production volume. So, what does this all mean for the U.S. offshore wind sector in the medium term? Short term, we can see what's happening. The outlook is not looking good. There's going to be a lot of litigation to get projects moving forward again. Well, in the medium term, the economically viable build out in the United States is more than 1 terawatt. The overall technical potential in the United States is 4 terawatts. But if we just focus on what can be built, then 1 terawatt is what we're talking about. That 1 terawatt comes with a price tag of $3 trillion worth of investment. So, what I think is that it'd be good for the industry to understand why an administration that wants the United States to maintain our position of global economic leadership, why have they made these decisions? It's head scratching. The administration owes the American people, the domestic and foreign project developers, and the domestic and foreign investors a good explanation as to why we would let $3 trillion slip through our fingers. Near term, $75 billion that is probably going to be spent anywhere but the United States. Longer term, companies like the German utility RWE are now going to require some kind of an incentive to even want to come back to the United States and continue their project development. Otherwise, they're going to be forced to sell off the lease payments and write off, a portion of that $1.1 billion that they've spent on their project development costs. In the meantime, they and many other project developers will be spending time and money developing projects elsewhere. It kind of feels to me like the US administration is okay with making the rest of the world great again, while jobs and revenue that should have been ours finds its way to the United Kingdom, Germany, Poland, South Korea, Canada, and even Australia. So here's my message. Like it or not, the offshore wind industry is here to stay, and the United States is going to lose a big piece of the action unless Congress steps in to put a stop to the loss of these jobs and the tax revenue. Congress has the power to pass laws which can override executive orders. So let's hope they do that and bring some stability to the chaos before we all lose a ton of money. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of Truth to Power. Follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel, as well as your favorite audio platforms, and visit www.intelstor.com to join more than 200,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. The full U.S. market research analysis is available today to Research Note subscribers.